This podcast is brought to you by Kiwi Design, the leader in MetaQuest and VR accessories. And now you can deck out your device while supporting the podcast. The MetaQuest 2 is a great headset, but do you ever feel things could be a bit more comfortable? Well, we have the solution for you. With lens protectors, controller grips, face covers, head straps, link cables, headset stands, and more, including my two personal favorites, the top version controller grips with added weight and an extended handle, and the Kiwi upgraded Elite strap. Let's be real, we've all whacked our controller. Don't be the guy messaging Oculus support for your own mistake or waiting weeks for an out-of-stock controller. Visit the link in our show notes to prepare yourself today. After visiting the link in our show notes, make sure to use the promo code RuffTalkVR at checkout, all one word, to take full advantage of your savings. And make sure to click the link in our show notes so the podcast gets credit and you help support us. Remember, whatever you need, Kiwi has you covered. Hey, welcome to this episode of Ruff Talk VR. We're joining you with another interview. Last time we were joined with the developer.
I am wicked excited for this one.
Yeah, interviews are always fun. But, last time we had the developer of Barbaria, Andrew Jepson on. Usually we keep it more, developers, community managers of games.
Illustrators.
But occasionally we'll reach out, we'll get some fellow VR content creators. And in this case, we're going a little bit outside. We're getting, I guess you could say, a media member. We have
Nicholas, we'll find out exactly what that is.
Yes, we have Nicholas Sutrich. He's the senior content producer for smartphones and VR over at Android Central. So that sounds like a loaded title.
I was intrigued when I heard the title. I'm like, I have to know what that means.
Yeah, and I've been engaging with Nicholas quite a bit on Twitter. He's definitely a fun personality. He's definitely a must follow over on that end too. But Nicholas, just to do a better introduction for our listeners, do you mind to tell them a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Sure. So I started full-time at Android Central in 2021. This is summer. So it's been almost 2 years now I've been full-time. I've been doing this on the side since 2011. VR-wise, more like 2016 timeframe, right? When the Vive and the Rift and all that came out. And PSVR, I can't forget about that, of course. Yeah, wouldn't be very nice to leave that one out. So I for the most part, my day consists of writing stuff, taking pictures, and finding things to write about, essentially, right? A fair amount of time on Twitter and things like that.
And so with the title of smartphones and VR, I mean, geez, going in at 2016, you're been in the journalist side or media side of VR since, the beginning of the Oculus days.
The embryo stage?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
So do you tend to go a little bit more towards VR, or are you pretty split with, smartphone coverage and VR coverage?
It's probably pretty evenly split. Yeah, it really just depends on the week. I know, like when the S23 came out, a couple weeks ago, that's pretty much all I did was Samsung coverage for like 2 weeks, with a little bit of VR sprinkled. And this week has pretty much only been VR with, maybe a little bit here and there. Like I wrote one Ring article because something came up with that, but for the most part, it was pretty much all VR.
Understood. Something we were joking about a little off air. We're like, so what exactly is a senior content producer? Are you in charge of pretty much all the article
all the content?
Yeah, related to those fields, or what's that title really hold?
It more or less means I get first dibs on stuff. So if something comes out, normally it gets offered to me first, review a phone, review a headset, whatever. Michael and I tend to split the VR stuff pretty evenly, though. I'm a little more on the Quest side. He's a little more on the PSVR side. But I mean, we have both, so there's plenty of overlap.
No, that's awesome. And so, did you discover VR, through your work at Android Central? How did you discover VR, and kind of what was your first VR experience? It's always something I love to know.
So my first experience is with the Oculus DK1. One of my friends got it off of like eBay or something. I don't even know where he found it. Somebody was selling it and he picked it up because he had heard a lot about it, and I think he and I had talked about it previously. And that was definitely wild because at that point there weren't too many standards. So you jump in Assetto Corsa and you basically throw up because the refresh rate's all over the place, and there's no comfort anything going on. You just sit in a chair, and I remember having plenty of headaches back then. And then 2015 IFA, so in Berlin, I went to that show, and typically we would just cover like smartphones and stuff then, but HTC had the Vive there, and they were showing it off with the blue. I don't remember what else they had. I just remember the blue stood out so much. Oh, they had the Everest climb thing. And that was when it was like, oh my gosh, this is so much better than the DK1. It's ridiculous. Like the jump from that was absurd. No motion sickness. You can walk around. It works like real life works, basically, right? Like I think that was one of the most impressive things, was like leaning under a rock to look at it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. So at that point, it was like, yeah, I got to get a Vive when it comes out. I got to review that thing, which was really exciting, and that's pretty much where it went from there.
Oh, that's awesome. So for somebody that's hopped in since the beginning, what's it like to see, the transition over to more
the growth,
the transition to like standalone VR? What's your thoughts on that?
I remember when the Quest came out, I didn't use it at first. We didn't have any Oculus contacts at that point, so it was kind of like, well, we'll get this thing eventually. At some point, we found somebody to send us a review unit and some codes, and it was like, wow, yeah, this is where I want this to go. And it felt like, before there was plenty of other standalone stuff. You had Google Cardboard, you had the Gear VR, and they were all cool. I had used all of those up to that point, but like I said with the standards thing earlier, Cardboard had no standards. It was just whatever the heck you throw on your phone. Good luck. And then Gear VR was cool, but there were, you had just the one controller that wasn't really motion tracked. And then Google had their little experiment thing there too. But yeah, once the Quest came out, it was like, yes, this is where I want to see things go. This is definitely the winner.
Yeah, and that's completely a curated store as well, which wasn't the case with the Gear and the Go, which
Right.
maybe a little controversial to some people, but the benefit of that is it guarantees that you have very
quality,
accessible
standards.
Yeah,
standards are good.
Experiences that typically won't
Yes.
get you super motion sick. Maybe if you hop on a roller coaster as your first ever VR experience,
Won't do that again.
yeah, that might not be the best, but for the most part, it's vetted experiences. So I guess I'm kind of hopping a little bit here, but do you have thoughts on store curation? Now that I'm kind of talking about that a
Since
bit.
you brought it up.
Since I brought it up, yeah.
No, that's great. Yeah, I think especially with standards, curation is super important, and I think we're still not at the point where we need to be. If you go on the PlayStation Store, there's no real comfort ratings, right? And while there are comfort ratings on the Quest Store, I think they could be a lot more robust. And I really think I've seen a couple of people who have picked up a PSVR. They went and jumped in Resident Evil right away, and that's not a great first VR experience. I mean, it's intense, right? You're going to get a lot from it, but you're also probably going to throw up, and you may not want to go back to VR again because you had that experience, and I hate that.
Yeah.
No, my admitted when I saw, since we were talking roller coasters, I saw the free game when I first got my Quest, and friggin'
Epic roller coasters.
yeah, and after doing it once, I was like, I feel a little nauseous, so let me do it again.
Because that's the
Yep.
smart thing to do.
Of course, right?
Well, you never know. It might get better the second time, right?
Yeah,
And then I went for the third time, and then that is when I really got the first experience of like motion sickness. I
Mhm.
felt no different than seasick. Even the thought of putting it on my head and playing it for like 24 hours would just
Well, I have
Yes.
a
freaking make me nauseous. So I wish there had been a
these are good first titles. These aren't good first titles.
yeah, like you just got your headset today. You probably don't want to jump right into this
Mhm.
full bore, and because first VR experience, I'm looking all around while the thing's moving and going up and down and blowing away
Sure.
these dinosaurs. But yeah, some sort of like, not buyer beware, but just caution may cause severe motion sickness.
Well, I know a couple people that have bought headsets, and the reality is a bad experience of motion sickness. They might not touch it again.
Well, if you think everything's going to be like that,
Yeah.
yeah,
And
it's
Right.
like, but not necessarily the case at all. I haven't had an issue since.
And you should see people's face when you tell them, "Oh, you'll get used to it." It's like, well,
No, you won't.
screw you.
It's
I'm
like
not
getting
going to
used to
do
a hangover.
Yeah,
No.
yeah. I'm sure you punch me in the face enough, I'll get used to it. Doesn't mean I want you to punch me in the face, you know?
Exactly.
And I have overall what I would consider a pretty iron gut with motion sickness. Like very rarely have I gotten motion sick. It's usually like if I tried to play while sick or maybe a little too tipsy or something like that, then I've experienced motion sickness. But the few times that I have, dude, it's like knock you out. It's not like, oh, I'm a little nauseous.
Yeah, it's real.
It's
like,
like, oh, I'm
you're
gonna
not making it up.
Yeah, I'm gonna go lay down. My like things are kind of spinning. So it's like, yeah, that's a new user experiencing that. There's a good chance they're not gonna pick up the headset again. So I think that stuff is essential as well. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I'm the same way with you with the stomach. Ironically, I feel like I've had more headaches and eye aches with AR glasses than with VR headsets. And it's because a lot of AR glasses don't have any kind of IPD adjustment. And I know a lot of these companies will tell you don't need that because it doesn't work the same way, but I don't really think that's correct. Because
No,
this is
Not if you
based
get
on my
headaches.
experience.
yeah, that's why even like, there's rumors that the Quest 3 is gonna have like the IPD wheel. I think that's so much better than the 3 preset, spots
Yeah,
that the Quest 3 had.
The preset thing was very disappointing.
Yeah, I have wide eyes, man. Like my distance when I measured it, I was like, damn, I didn't think it was that much.
Yeah,
So
I think I have mine pushed out all the way.
yeah,
What's your
but,
IPD?
I mean,
off the top of my head, I don't remember it off the
Like
top.
70 plus or
So-
under that?
I feel like it was like 69 or something like that.
Okay. So pretty high.
Yeah, I can pull up my prescription in just a moment. I have it on my phone. Might
That's
even have it
fine.
in my wallet. But yeah, 3 is definitely my spot. But there's people that I see a lot online. They're like, oh, I kind of keep mine in between 2 and
in
3.
between. Well, the perfect
Yep.
thing to me is not one of the locked ones, but
You're an in-betweener as well then.
I say screw it
Same.
and just keep it out.
Yeah. So it's like, but most people aren't going to play with it to that point. And if it's not at the right IPD, especially with lenses that need a sweet spot,
Yeah, you're screwed.
yeah, that's going to affect the overall first
It's a tough
experience.
sell.
Yeah. I use mine between 2 and 3.
Mm-hmm. That seems like a common one. And are you a glasses wearer or no? Like, are you wearing
No.
contacts right now? No? Okay.
Nope.
I'm obviously, I have glasses, pretty thick rims on.
Yeah, but you got prescription
Lenses now, but
lenses.
I'll say even using glasses, before I got the prescription lenses, that's the only time I ever had eye strain was, my glasses and then non-prescription lens over. And then as soon as I switched to prescription lens, no more eye strain. But
No more issues.
yeah,
Nice.
I don't know.
That's good to hear.
But I don't know if everybody has that. I'll sit there and gut it out and deal with eye strain. Like I
Well-
did just because I was enthused.
Anything that causes headaches to me, I'm probably not going to go back a whole bunch of times.
Mhm. So it sounds like
So I'd be bummed to find out that if I bought a high end piece of glasses just for good AR and it caused me headaches, I'd be dying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you've used the new PSVR 2 a bit, right?
Quite a bit. Yes.
Okay, so we haven't gotten our hands on it, but
No.
so I want
okay.
to hear it firsthand from you. What are your thoughts on it?
I mostly like it. At first, I wasn't a real big fan of the comfort because I felt like putting it on, it would squash the bridge of my nose. And a lot of that was because I wanted that really wide FOV. So I pulled that thing way in as close to my face as possible, which is fine. But I really needed to adjust it differently before I did that. And after like an hour and a half of it, my nose was just like, stop playing, please. But I have not had that problem since. That was only the first day that I ever did that. Let's see. I don't know how well active games are going to work on it because just like the original, there's no like gasket pressure on your face, which I know some people prefer. But if I'm playing something like Beat Saber, I want it to be against my face. Whereas this, it's just like the original. It's this floppy rubber thing that is really just there to block light. It doesn't have any other purpose.
Yeah, I'm a tight against my face guy. Like I have the Kiwi head strap that I tighten. If anything, I tighten it too tight. Like I like that stuff.
No, I agree.
Snug.
Plus, I don't want any light getting in at all.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I know. I'm the same way, and I used a couple like the Bobo and similar ones like that. I used for a while, but you turn your head like this, and it shakes, and it drives me crazy. So I went right back to I'm using Kiwi's, the one that has the battery and the headphones built in.
Oh, I just saw that they put that out. We have just the battery one. We have the headphone one separate.
And the battery one.
And battery one separate, but I saw that they put out the combined one. Yeah, Kiwi's our favorite. They actually sponsor the podcast as well. But even if they weren't a sponsor, they're the company that I would go
Still
with.
getting their stuff.
Yeah, it's just so that back turning knob is the best.
Mhm.
And
You
it's
can just
made really well too. That's the thing.
Mhm.
Like I have a couple more that I like the Bobo one because of the swappable battery. But yeah, I much prefer the Kiwi style. I guess it's an elite strap style technically, if we're gonna go along with the official
Yeah.
accessory names, right?
that just doesn't snap though, you know.
No,
Yeah.
I've admittingly over torqued mine, and I thought for sure I really putting it on tight,
Mhm.
and I'm like, oh shit, it's gonna break, but it just kind of released one little click, and I was like, oh shit, I totally expected it to snap.
Mhm.
'Cause I've seen some rather nasty pictures of people when they play with. I won't say necessarily Kiwi, but I've seen some photos of like
Yes.
the side strapping pretty easy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
breaking.
official one is not. It's not great.
Yeah, it's
No.
got quite the reputation on that.
So I want to know graphics with the PSVR.
Yeah, I
Yes.
know
Okay.
you're real curious about Gran Turismo specifically. I
Yeah,
know that.
I mean, I would kill to own a PS5 just for the Gran Turismo VR
Mhm.
experience, because that was my jam when I was years ago. I won't say
Yeah.
younger, 'cause
Now
I was
Gran
probably
Turismo
still
is one of the
older.
only ones I have not played yet. So
Really?
Oh.
I can't. I don't have it, and I
Damn.
don't. Yeah. I want to get it. I just haven't picked it up yet. So it's on my list. And so let's see, Horizon. I will use as an example because this is a series I'm real mixed on, because I feel like it's always pretty, but it's always so boring to play. I'm just not a huge fan of Horizon. This one so far though is a lot more interesting, and I don't know if that's because it's more linear and it has you going to a specific place and doing specific things, whereas in the regular ones I tend to just kind of get lost, and I don't know, like the world isn't very interesting for me to explore. And so this one is like it keeps you on that path, and you're like, okay, I have to go up there. That's my next destination. They give you split ways to get there. Like sometimes the path will split and you can take this zip line down to get up and over around, or you can take these ropes you swing across to get on the other side of there. And even the way they climb, I like, because yeah, it's still those white painted surfaces that feel like it was a predetermined route, but they also give you these walls that you can use pickaxes and jam the pickaxe into and climb up with, which I don't know. They mix that up a bit, and I really feel like that works well. And then the combat is cool too. But yeah, visually, my gosh, it's a treat. It definitely is incredible.
See, I've never
Yeah, I haven't heard. I keep getting mixed reviews of how the graphics are with the games they have, and I yet to actually talk to somebody that is in it enough that I trust their opinion. So it's like
I would.
I mean, how are they stacking compared to the Quest 2?
Oh, definitely dominant. But I'll let him answer, having used it.
Yeah, I would guess based on what you were saying, is people are probably playing Quest games on the PSVR 2, and for the most part developers are only going to beef those up so much. Like Jurassic World is one of my favorites. I feel like that one's not talked about very much, and that's one that has sort of like a Wind Waker aesthetic, right, where it's very comic booky. It's got the cell shaded lines and everything. It's just super crisp and clean, and there's not all that much I feel like you can do to make that more visually appealing. So if you don't like that art style, it doesn't really matter what they're going to do on this higher res textures, or higher poly models or something. It's still going to look like this, right? And like the Light Brigade, I would say, is probably a similar thing, where the environments and the models are definitely designed for the Quest in mind, and they look better on PSVR 2. But it still looks like it was probably Quest first, and they improved it for this.
Yeah, so right now it's the titles that were built to kind of highlight the system really shining graphically, whereas like the Quest ports not so much.
Yeah, probably. And I think the Quest ports look fine. I don't have an issue with Quest graphics.
Me neither.
Mm-mm.
We
I,
play it
I
daily.
I almost wonder, like, the people who have issues with Quest graphics, do they actually use the headset? Because when you when you watch trailers or see somebody else play it on a TV, yeah, you're gonna go, these graphics kind of suck. They're not great. But once you're in the world, I don't ever really think about the visuals.
Yeah,
Like
we
they
say that
just
all the time.
they don't bother me. There's nothing that's a problem.
Yeah,
Occasionally you'll run into something where it's like, this could be more detailed, or I can tell they had to dumb down the number of objects in this scene because the processor can't handle it or something. But for the most part, I mean, like, you play Walking Dead on a Quest, and I don't think there's that much to complain about.
Yeah, I've always joked, I don't know if it's because I'm low IQ or something like that, but my brain has never had a problem getting immersed in Quest graphics.
No, but that's the key is like if the immersion didn't exist, then you'd probably focus more on
For sure.
graphical details that you'd probably whine about in a flat screen setting. But so far I've even the worst graphics I've seen are still good to me. I mean, it's better than an Atari.
Well, it's a VR, so 5 minutes into being there, your brain, at least for me, my brain just goes, this is
your world.
This is life. This is the quality
Yeah.
of life, I guess. So it's
I totally agree. I think my only two complaints visually about the PSVR 2, Sony's interpolation mode is not very good. So when a game is running at 60 frames a second and it's interpolating that to 120, you can tell. You might not be able to tell in every scene or every time you move, but Horizon is definitely one that runs at 60 frames a second and is, jacked up to 120 via that algorithm. And it's not as good as Valve or Meta's.
Yeah, that makes. Now,
and
theoretically,
the
that's
other
something.
thing. No, go ahead.
I was going to say that could improve with software updates, correct?
I hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, that's 100% software. So yes, it absolutely could. And I do hope they work on that because they're definitely behind the competition in that point. And then the only other thing is because they used Fresnel lenses, anything that's super bright has that kind of glow to it. Whereas I've gotten spoiled to heck with the Quest Pro and the pancake lenses, and you don't have that glow anymore. So
yeah, we're still on the classic Quest 2. Everybody I've heard go pancake lens, they're like, I'm never not going pancake lens again.
They're unreal. I mean, and it's not like they're perfect. Okay, so the edges of the pancake lens are slightly illuminated just because of the way it bends the light. So whereas I feel like on a Fresnel lens, it's pretty evenly lit across the surface, whereas on the pancakes, the outside is curved a little bit. So when you have them on your face, if you're looking around, you can see this slight halo around the very edges of the lens. And that could also just be a Quest Pro panel issue.
A manufacturing thing.
Yeah, that panel's not perfect either. But, I guess we'll see on Quest 3 if they do anything different. And I haven't used a Pico 4 yet, so I can't speak to that.
Yeah, my thing about pancake lens, it kind of goes back to that first time experience thing. If you can't see what somebody else is seeing, so you might, somebody who knows VR, you can find the sweet spot for yourself on a Quest 2, or I'm sure the PlayStation VR 2, pretty easy, that quote unquote sweet spot. But to help somebody else find it, and if they are not in the sweet spot, they're going to think it's worse graphics than it is. Versus my understanding with pancake lenses, it's you put it on and the whole thing is the sweet spot. Like you're good to go.
Yeah. So I would say, when you have a headset with pancake lenses, it's a lot thinner, which is nice. But I don't think that's the real upgrade. I think the real upgrade is both clarity, because like I said, you don't have that glow to everything. You don't have those like God rays and several other little issues that Fresnel lenses have. And then, to go with the clarity is the fact that you don't have to constantly do this to get it. You just stick it on your head and it's clear. It is very impressive how much wider that spot is.
I'm a little jelly.
Yeah, now the Quest Pro's dropping to $999.
Don't think I wasn't tempted.
They're being smart, They're like, all right, they're doing some testing with price points. It seems, seeing what sells most at different levels.
Well,
and
I'll still make the argument based on talking to Bradley that they're probably selling for now what it should have been selling for from the beginning.
Yes,
technically they're not losing money on a Pro.
According to him, he said the subsidizing aspect wasn't really there with the Quest Pro, but $999, like, all right, people hear $1,400, $1,500. I don't know. There's something a little bit more magical about $9.99. That it's like, well,
It's not even
Agreed.
1,000.
yeah, well, before the taxes, before
It's
the
under 1,000.
the red, white, and blue comes in and gets their share too. But
Sure.
no, that
Yeah, gosh, I remember when we were trying to guess the pricing for Quest Pro, and I think the rumor was 1,200, wasn't it?
I can't remember if it was 12 or 14 being
somewhere in that ballpark.
that range. Yeah.
I remember seeing 14 or 15 and going, no,
Yeah.
there's no way they're
Yeah.
doing that.
This is meta the race to the bottom of price,
Right. And then they did it, and it was like, oh, wow, okay, that's a little overzealous.
Yeah, they got it though.
Yeah.
So for the Pro, as intriguing as the headset is with the lenses and everything, what's your thought on the controllers? Because I've been eyeing those controllers like a kid in a
We want to
candy
know
shop.
if it's going to get confirmed that those controllers will be with the
compatible with the Quest 3? Yeah, that's the only reason I've been buying.
Exactly.
They'll definitely work with Quest 3. There's no I mean, they work with Quest 2. There's no reason they won't. Yeah, I would buy them. But I mean, I don't know what the Quest 3 controllers are going to be like. That's the thing. So if Quest 3 ships with something similar, then you maybe you blew your money.
Yeah, but I just, if they're looking to keep that 500.
But you know what it is everyone who's gotten them or has the Pro rants and raves about even day one, people were like, these controllers are next
stealing
level.
the show, actually, at release of all the reviews, even the negative reviews I saw of the Quest Pro were like, hey, the controllers, though, for 300, that's not bad.
And that's it. Like the headset, okay, the lenses are way better. The display can be better. The comfort can be better depending on your head or whatever weird variables humans have that make headsets different comfort levels from other people. But the controllers are definitely 100% better. I think the only downside is that you don't have the aftermarket stuff. So you don't have all the knuckles and all the other things that you can snap onto it. Like there's like a gajillion ones you can pick from on the Quest 2.
I love my Kiwi Pro grips, my extended handles.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah, every time I go back to using it, I'm like, man, I miss these things. So same ones I use too. And they're so much more comfortable than anything.
Well, hopefully a bunch more Quest Pro sell and there's enough users that, the companies like that will start to pump out Quest Pro.
Well, that's why I want to know if these exact controllers are going to come with the next headset, because I haven't seen a huge aftermarket of the controllers like I did with the Quest
accessories.
2. Yeah, so it's like, do they know something that, or like you had said, we don't know what the controllers are going to be,
right?
So are they just focused on the Q3, and then we'll see the influx of aftermarket? Because I would have thought by now you'd see everybody selling
controllers, accessories, everything.
Exactly.
Yeah, no,
and I just haven't seen it.
And I know for reviews, I think the only Quest Pro accessory that I've gotten that's specifically Quest Pro made is from VR Cover, and it's like the cloth strap that goes over that. I don't know what the material is, but whatever material sits on your forehead. So it makes it a little more breathable, which I like. I feel like that's comfortable, but I haven't had anybody else email me specifically about, hey, try these controller grips, try, I don't know, whatever. I mean, you can't swap out the head strap, but just something else. I don't think the headset was built for that, and I think we're seeing that response. But I do wonder why we haven't seen more with the controllers.
Well, I think there's 20 million Quest 2 sold. It's very easy for a company to go, there's 20 million headsets for me to potentially sell accessories to. How many Quest Pros have been sold?
Yeah, but no, people are buying the controllers though.
Yeah, but I can see a company going, well, if there's only 10,000, I'm not saying that they only sold that much. I'm just being, exaggerating.
Yeah,
for the point, like, oh my God, there's only 10,000 users. And what, 1% of those are going to buy accessories? It's not really worth it for us to even put the time. But, at $9.99, hopefully we start to see more in the wild. And then these companies go, well, now there's enough user base. But I don't know, even if the Quest 3 ships for $500, these controllers are $300,
right?
With computers. I have a hard. So what, they're going to do a $300 controller and a $200 headset? I have a feeling that
not likely.
Or to be a $600 or $700 headset.
Yeah, no, but they seem like they're sticking with the 3 to 5 range. Probably that means 5. If we're going to be honest, $499. But I I can't see the controllers being better than the Quest Pro, but I've been proved wrong many times in the past. So
Yeah, especially
Yeah.
in VR.
I think my hope for that is if they don't go Quest Pro style controllers for the Quest 3, that they'll at least do more of a PSVR 2 style ring. Because I will say the tracking on PSVR 2 is better than Quest 2 with the controllers. Because I know with Quest 2, if I take it about here, it loses it. If you go down to like, you can't see my arm, but down near your hip, just slightly behind, it's gone, right? Like as soon as you get out of that camera range, if you move too much, it doesn't know what to do. And looking at the PSVR 2 headset, I feel like the tracking should be worse because the cameras are more on the front versus, like 2 on the side or something like that. But for whatever reason, maybe both software algorithm stuff and the fact that those rings are like way around the controller, I don't even notice in games where you have to hold your hands like this. I don't even see that the hand like flipping out in the game or something when it loses it. Like I have that happen on Quest 2. If you don't hold the hand right, it'll do this, because it doesn't know where you're holding it.
no, I think if they keep doing the method of the controllers having individual tracking,
Yeah.
so it's not reliant completely on just the headset trackers, because it seems like that's what
Dude, you can't afford to lose your hands in VR.
No, well,
It's kind of crucial.
So you play Population 1, which I know is a game, you enjoy yourself. You lose your, one of your hands goes flying out in Population 1, you're dead. It's over.
Yep,
Oh
you
yeah,
are.
walking around
Absolutely.
with the arm out.
Yeah, you're waiting for your teammate to start to rev you up,
Yeah.
So what are some of your favorite VR games? I see you post a lot about Gods of Gravity. That's a personal favorite of ours and
Yes,
Pop
I
1,
love it.
I've
It's
gotten
so
my
good.
ass kicked a few times. Yeah.
Yeah. So what are some of your favorites?
Ones that I play regularly are pretty much all multiplayer. Demio, Population 1, After the Fall. Let's see what else have I played recently? I hate this question sometimes as I always blank on it.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Like people will
100%. I get
ask
that.
me, "Well, what should I play with you?" Oh, I got to go look at my list. Hold on.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Those are definitely 3 that I play regularly.
I think
A lot of my time too is spent playing stuff for reviews or roundups or things like that. So, I play a fair amount of other things that I might not necessarily play beyond that.
Yeah, that's our situation a
Yeah,
lot.
I respect that.
Yeah, we'll be like, oh, dying to play one game, but review calls. We got another one, but Population 1's definitely always number one in our heart. We've dumped so much money
I've
in
got
that game.
concerns with the whole going free is just kind of freaking me out a little. That's the we'll see it disappear in a year.
Yeah, you're worried that they're gonna phase it out.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not part of big box to know their like what the rationale or thinking. I just don't know. But to see something that expensive go free is like, what's going on, man?
Yeah,
I'm
I
optimistic, but
think from my understanding, their numbers are still healthy and they still have growth, but it's not what they want. So they're doing this to essentially meet the numbers. And that's me reading between the lines, just talking to them. I mean, they did say they're doing this for growth, but like I said, based on some other things they've said, I think it's more of they want their numbers to really go up versus it's kind of plateaued a bit.
I always
I
try
don't
to.
think we're seeing the numbers go down, if that's what your concern is.
Okay.
I just a couple of comments. Like I know. So for one, Population 1 has a way better monetization model than Echo VR did. Like I've spent so much money on Pop 1 skin, so clearly the model works. I'll buy in-game stuff. But there's that part of me that's worried where I go, well, I know I heard Boz say low 10,000 was enough that wasn't enough to keep Echo VR alive. So I wonder what the actual, daily active users a Meta owned free to play game needs to stay alive. Yeah. Which again, Pop 1 has a much better monetizing model than Echo VR did, without a doubt. Their skins are awesome. I get it, but I understand the fears too.
Yeah, and this I do wonder how many people actually paid for the pass for Echo VR versus just played. And like
It
on
didn't
what?
seem like that there was incentive to actually I don't know, spend money in that game.
I never wanted to pay for it. I think I paid for season 2 or something, and that was it. And because it was like $5, wasn't it? It was cheap.
Yeah, I never really got super into Echo VR either. Unfortunately, it was one of those experiences where I don't always have the highest tolerance. If I go to play it 3 times and 3 out of 3 times I'm
No,
hit
we
with
paid $30 for Pop 1, so
Yeah,
you're
but look,
getting your money's worth.
Right.
I played my first 3 Pop 1 games, and the first 3 games were a bunch of little kids going crazy. Like I remember even the Echo VR tutorial, like during it, they pop you into the public lobby for a second, and I was like, oh, it's a better quality rec room in terms of the community. I was like, dude, I'm gonna end up on a list playing this game. I need to get out, you know?
Yeah,
So then I
I
played
get you. And that's definitely a concern for free to play. Is you're gonna end up with a bunch of kids. Because it's like I love Among Us. Among Us is another one. There you go. That I play. And I do play that fairly regularly with a group of friends.
yeah, private servers.
Yeah, for the most part, we try to get as many people in as possible, and then we'll let, maybe up to 4 other people in, depending. And I think pretty much every time it's always kids. And I don't have a problem with kids. There are several of them that are respectable enough, but there are so many kids that just have zero etiquette, and their parents very obviously don't teach them manners and don't care what they say. And yeah, I think my hope too, and I haven't used the new moderation tools in Pop 1, but they have revamped that to make it easier to block and mute people. So I think that's important, especially in a free-to-play game. Um, and I think, like with the monetization model, like you're saying, I think the new store overhaul is also really important to keeping that a healthy game. And there's a lot of stuff in that new store, like a substantial amount of items. I don't remember pricing wise how good it was, but I know that's always a complaint of mine with Fortnite. It's like, dude, the skins are like $12 for a skin. It's ridiculous. It's so expensive. So I really do hope that they do a little better than that, because that's like Echo VR was almost too cheap, and because of that, you didn't feel like you got good stuff. Whereas Fortnite is like, I gotta pay this for a skin I'm gonna use like 5 times. Are you kidding me?
Well, dude, we
Yeah,
used to
we've seen the Pop 1 skins went up. So, I mean, I'm going to
substantial.
make it sound like I'm broke, but it's like it reached a point where I was like, it's not
worth it.
No, we used to sign in, see one, and be like, boom, bought it.
Well,
no questions asked. And then they started to get weird with having to buy the whole legit bundle, not just the skin. And I'm like,
it went from like $3 for if you wanted
this
just buy the
$30
skin.
game is now cost me $300.
Yeah,
know?
I remember one time, one of the last bundles they put out, when I was looking at the skin, it was like you could only get the skin exactly what he said by going and buying the whole bundle. I go, all right, how much would it cost to buy the bundle? And I think I would have had to do the max coin buy just to even come close to it. And I was like, all right, we're getting a little too far with that. Whereas like we were people, every Pop 1 skin we were buying before. So yeah, it is a balance. Hopefully, since they're dropping the $30 price tag, I don't know. It's a tough balance. You go more expensive skins and go for, less sales, but you're making more, or do you do, I think a $4 skin is perfect priced.
I agree. Yeah, at under $5, probably $5 max.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like is a reasonable price for people to go, yeah, I'll buy that. When you get it to $10, people stop and they go, I don't know if I really want it that badly.
Yeah.
And
No,
yeah, that goes back to the pricing tests that we were talking about with Quest Pro and some of this other hardware too. Is like at $299, I feel like Quest 2 is an impulse buy almost. People see that and they go, yeah, I'm gonna try that for $299. But at $399, that's a little harder. At $999, forget, that's enthusiast only, right? And with a free to play game, I feel like there's definitely more incentive to buy skins because you didn't pay for the game in the first place. Whereas with Pop 1 before, it was like, well, I spent $30 on the game. I don't really want to spend more on it.
yeah, I was always mind boggled that I actually did buy the skins, because I've never been a skins guy in other games. For the most part, I have the mentality of like, I don't really care about how my player works.
Right.
But I don't know. There's something about Pop 1 that, despite the fact I spent $30 on it, I was still willing to buy the skins. But I think it was the price point of them. Anything higher
Yeah,
than
it
what.
didn't seem like it was breaking your bank.
No.
Or like you had to, it's like, okay, a couple of cups of coffee. Here's the skin.
Dude, I never got into Fortnite. $12 a skin or
I
around
played
there.
it. I played it for a little bit on Xbox.
Yeah, that would see $0 for me. But if they had like a $3 skin, I would be all over that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's if I think about some of the skins, so let's see, a lot of them are between like 1,200 and 2,000 V-Bucks. And I think a $10 pack of V-Bucks is like 800 or 900. Is that right? Maybe it's a little more than that.
I kept
So
thinking
you're talking
750.
between 10 and $20 for a skin pack. And then the other thing they'll do is you buy the skin, but you don't get the harvesting tool or you don't get the glider. And those are each like 4, 5, 6, 800, 1,000 V-Bucks. So to get the whole character, you guys spend like $30 on this thing. I'm like, at least mail me an action figure or something. You're gonna make me pay that much for it. Jeez.
Yeah, I'll be optimistic.
I guess on the flip side of that, right, is like they sell the action figures at like toy stores. And I remember I bought my son one for his birthday or Christmas or something one time. And I was thinking, oh, well, there's going to be a code in here to get that skin in the game. Nah, no code.
Yeah,
you got to buy that separately digitally. Sorry.
Yeah, hopefully they don't get too greedy with it. Actually,
Fortnite is they've mastered the art of how to make. I mean, it's got like cult following player base. So
kids are very easy to convince to ask their parent.
Amount of money in that game.
Oh yeah, and it's like most of them to me are. It's like that really younger crowd.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them are damn good, but where are they getting the money to buy all the skins? You
go, hey mom, dad, can I
get $20? $20?
Yeah,
no, it's crazy. The
$10, $20, whatever, and go do some chores or something. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, so I'll be optimistic that Pop One will be, big box will be very reasonable with their pricing model, and that it won't get overwhelmed with kids. I'm optimistic the free to play will be overall for the positive.
Well, they got to add a ranking system.
Oh, like
because you can't go.
Making?
Yeah, I mean the biggest complaint I see, they are definitely doing that.
Yeah, so there's two tiers. You have like the beginner / low skill, and they didn't tell me what that meant. They said it's based on both level and they have sort of an internal algorithm that matches you. And I also thought it was cool with the low skill because in those lobbies, it'll be automatically filled with bots to finish off the numbers to make it a full lobby. Sorry, I'm losing the word here.
No, right.
But that's not in the high skill lobbies. The high skill lobbies are only players.
No, that's huge because it was getting a little rough for new players. They go in and then level 60s are just going to...
you just die instantly.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Like, 3 of them squatted up together coming from the sky.
I wonder how's it going to compensate, though, if you're like a level 61 and you want to play with your buddy who's a level 3.
They go in the high level lobby.
Okay, so you'll
and then your friend needs to just protect you.
Meat shield it. Yeah.
Okay.
Meat shield.
That's probably the fair way to do it. Otherwise,
No, but that's huge news because I hadn't really caught on that was going to happen, but in the groups I see, it's like constantly and these are people who are like level 40s and they're like, I'm getting destroyed in 10 minutes. I mean, I can't play. It's just too much high level.
Yeah, I'm only level 30 or 40 something. I don't remember what I'm at, but I'm not 60.
Yeah,
I'm a 50 something.
Yeah, we've been playing since literally like maybe 3 weeks after the game came out on the Quest. And I'm not max level. I just don't got that time. And the way the XP goes, it's like,
Well, there's some workarounds.
Yeah, you do your daily
people
challenges.
Kind of cheat the systems with. I think you used to be able to get XP with bots a while ago and shit.
Okay.
Well,
yeah, and that's another interesting thing. So they're doing like a single player mode where they have 20 levels of bots, and once you complete that, you get like a specific skin that you can only get that way. So I feel like they're doing a good job with a lot of the changes they're making.
As long as it's not going anywhere, because it's selfishly one of my favorite VR experiences.
I really hope it doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah, too damn good.
The only way I would be content with it going somewhere if it meant Pop 2, I guess. If there's ever a sequel, then I'll be happy. But I guess with the free to play model, you don't even need to because you can just continuously update the game, improve the graphics.
And look how much it's grown, anyways. Just in the sheer map. I mean, I was blown away back with their original maps and no kingdoms and no.
Which I think they're bringing back for like a special game mode, right? You can do the OG map.
So they have on March 9th build, they're going to have 3 modes, right? So you have deathmatch, which is sandbox stuff. You've got the original map, which is Battle Royale. And then you have what they're calling the evolving map. And the evolving map switches out Outpost Hill for, what is the name? It's one of the popular sandbox levels. I forget the name of it now. And then what they said was throughout the year, they're going to be changing both that area and several other areas out with sandbox maps, which is dope.
Okay.
Yeah. And that actually brings a benefit to, like you go into sandbox mode, you don't get to design the whole, build area of a regular map. It's kind of like an
Section.
isolated area, but now that lets them be able to go, well, this little area is freaking cool and popular with the community. Boop, let's put it in,
Exactly. And that area feels so cool in the game. It really fits well in Outpost Hill. Like they made the rocks to where the rocks come up a little bit and then the level kind of drops down a little bit into a bowl. So you have this area that you can really sneak in and kind of hide behind, and they have lots of buildings and stuff in there. So it's good.
Such a good damn game.
Oh my goodness. So like you referenced.
Very biased, but it's a good damn game.
Yeah, well, I've never really been big on battle royales either.
No. Well, I've always called it, this is adult Fortnite.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like if Fortnite was for adults only, this would be perfect. You don't have to build crazy ramps and houses and walls. Well, you can build walls, but
dude,
you get what I'm saying.
VR's its own animal. Even what you said, like, oh, I never really enjoyed Horizon, the series before. I'm the same too. I could never really get into it. Just didn't even really capture me. But I can guarantee a big reason why this one was enjoyable was because it was in VR.
Dude,
like, everything's just better in VR.
If Fortnite came over to the Quest,
I'd probably play the hell out of it.
Yeah, it would be huge.
Yep,
and then I
absolutely.
would eat my words because now we got our adult Fortnite. Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's what Zero Build is for, and Fortnite is everybody who hates the building stuff. So yeah, I get it. I'm right with you there. I usually, it drives me crazy.
Now, when I see like some of the best in the world playing on like a friggin' iPad or something, and they're just crushing it with fingers, I'm like, hey, I stand no chance, zero chance on a computer, on an Xbox. It's done. Some 10-year-old just gonna wipe me out, and he's literally just on like a phone.
That's awesome. So is the Quest Pro your favorite headset you've used? Or if not, what is your favorite VR headset? Because, you're somebody that's been around 2016. You've gotten to see all
of them.
Yeah. Which
I definitely have not used all of them. There's too many. I would say Quest Pro is my favorite one so far, though. And interestingly enough, I find it super comfortable, whereas I've seen plenty of people say it gives them headaches. Their forehead hurts after a while. Like it is really fascinating to me how all these different designs affect different people. And I think a Quest 2 style headset is the best because you can change that strap out for whatever fits your head better. But yeah, as far as personal stuff goes, the Quest Pro is definitely my favorite overall. It just feels like a great overall package.
And do you ever play around with PC VR? Or are you at this point, pretty much a standalone?
Almost
VR
never.
guy?
I obviously loved PC VR back when the Vive was around, really before Quest came out, and even into when Quest 2 came out, I still played quite a bit of PC VR stuff, Half-Life Alyx, etc. But I feel like standalone has just gotten so good. And PC VR, I know I will get fought on this on Twitter, but PC VR is a pain in the butt. There's always something that doesn't work. There's always something I gotta tweak. And I swear, like every time I would play something, when I was pretty much only playing PC VR, I would spend an hour trying to fix the audio, trying to figure out why the heck it isn't full screening on the TV. Like it was always some stupid little thing that I would get caught up on, and then I can't enjoy my game because I'm busy troubleshooting.
Now, I think if anybody really dissected different groups for PC VR, you could see that writing right on the wall. But, of course, like me, I'd be all about how good are the graphics?
Mm-hmm.
But you can see people constantly asking questions about how come I can't get it to this? What's wrong with my network?
Mm-hmm.
I can't. And I'm like,
why is my frame rate so low?
Yeah.
It seems like I kind of more of a hassle than the ability to just grab it off a counter, put it on, take it with you.
Well,
Right.
I'm big
And
on the
it's
Cost effective.
right. And it's great for enthusiasts, and I'm glad it's still around, and I don't think it's going anywhere ever. It's like PC gaming. It's never going to die. It doesn't matter how big mobile or consoles or whatever gets, you're always going to have PC gaming. And it's always going to be the thing that you can mod and tweak and do all this crazy amazing stuff with, but it just, for the most part, I don't want to deal with that anymore. I'm just tired of it.
Well, I was just an onlooker of VR for, the PC VR years. I didn't have a decked out PC.
Yeah, we weren't spending $10K on a couple of computers.
Yeah,
so.
No,
a high.
I've never
high-end
had like a super top of the line PC. So,
And then plus the headsets were quite expensive as well. So
yeah.
you combine those two, but I was always an onlooker. But then it's like the Quest line drops. The Quest 2, like you said, $299 at release, which is a ridiculous price. Of course, I went the 256 gigabyte model, which so happy I did.
Yeah.
Max that baby out in a week now. Games have gotten big, but just the accessibility of it in terms of price and ease of setup. You just pick up and use. It's standalone VR all the way for me.
Yep. Yeah, and I know sometimes Quest has gotten a little unreliable with things. I don't think I've had any issues recently, but there have definitely been bouts where like 2-3 firmware versions all have weird Guardian issues. Like I know there have been several times now with the PSVR 2 where my living room doesn't change. I stick the headset on and it's like, I can't find your space. Please make a new one. All right, whatever.
That happens to me with the Quest 2 quite a bit. Even though I always play in the same area, I'll have to redraw it maybe once a week.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know you were doing it.
Yeah, I haven't had that with the Quest 2 in a while. It's been a couple of months.
I used to get it, but yeah, I used to get it frequently, probably minimally one a week. And then I haven't had it probably for the past couple updates.
An issue I used to have a lot that luckily has gone away is game install issues. Like for whatever reason, I wouldn't be able to get a game to install.
That was the worst.
Oh my goodness.
That was so frustrating. Is it fixed on your end now?
Yeah.
Partially.
For the most part, sometimes so there was kind of two different issues that would occur. One would be a download would get stuck. So maybe it's halfway through and then it would no longer progress. Another issue would be, I would go to start a download and despite no other downloads, it would just say queued and it wouldn't start. So the queued issue has gone away. Doesn't exist anymore. Occasionally my app still gets stuck, but we discovered you open up another game. If your download's stuck, just go into an app and that thing is going to shoot up so fast.
It downloads faster than if you're opening nothing. That's what freaks me out.
To be honest with you, even if my download's not stuck, I go into an app when I'm installing a game because it seems like it downloads faster like that.
Yep. Done in a minute.
Do you have a preferred app that you open or just anything?
Usually Gods of Gravity.
Gods of Gravity.
Yeah.
Okay.
Usually
that works.
Quick load in.
Yeah. And if you know you're going to have to play, it's like, 5-10 minutes.
Yeah.
You can do some damage.
Yeah. Pretty easily. So when you play Gods of Gravity, what god do you use?
Typically Prosperity.
Prosperity? I don't think that's a very popular one either.
Yeah?
No, we usually use the recruitment one, but recently a lot we've been having fun with Destruction. Just F the AI, We're
Destruction is definitely a fun one to do. You know what though? So I find that when I switch like that, especially when I play Destruction temporarily, I screw up constantly and I blow my own planets up. Because I'm so used to Prosperity where I activate my planet to pop up a bunch of ships and then it starts blowing up. I'm like, crap. I forgot I switched.
If I'm playing solo, I love Teleportation God too, but that's not a good one like if we're playing on the same team together because teleporting with the troops is nice, but he's doing his thing over here and then I'm going to go summon all of our troops to one spot for me because that's a special ability for the Teleportation God. It lets you take all your troops into wherever you shoot it.
Yes.
That's pretty selfish. I'm going to steal all the troops that he's...
Yeah, as I'm doing shit.
Yeah, he's fighting another front over there, and I'm going to go, sorry, mine. So I love the God. I just can't use it with a partner, unfortunately.
In fact, I have not played with somebody in co-op mode yet. Have you done that yet?
Yeah, we've been having fun with their new co-op campaign.
Yeah.
Which some of the campaign maps...
Not true campaign.
It's fake. It's fake co-op.
It's fake campaign.
It's fake
co-op. Most of them are giving you like technically 2 starting bases. Still true 1 home start base, but then you already have an established one that your buddy can feed off of.
But it's not all
Okay.
of the levels.
No.
There's probably there's 15 total campaign levels, I believe, maybe 13, but something like that. I think we counted 4 or 5 of them that only has one starting planet.
So you're waiting.
And it's like, so the way co-op used to work, co-op, because it wasn't like
Right,
officially integrated, and you both would just select the same team, and then there's one home base and you both feed off of that. So yeah, there's like a
And
4 to
it's
5
slow,
levels.
yeah.
There's 4 to 5 campaign levels that are still like that, and they don't give you the 2 starting spots. And it's like, I don't know if I would count
I made
this.
the argument. Yeah, that's not true.
You go, that's a typo. That's not that's not
Right.
co-op.
So
But for
on
the
the
most part,
on the
it's
proper
fun.
co-op ones, it has 2 home planets.
Not so much a home.
Yeah,
there's
definite
one home
marked home and then one
that has super fast production.
It's
Like
like
it's
a
pretty
seed
much
or
a home
something.
level.
The moons are already set. No,
Yeah.
the moons aren't set.
No, you
Just
have
the
to grab
planet
them,
is
but
set. Yeah.
it seems like it generates planets at the same rate a home. It's not. Sorry, generate planets.
Yeah,
Generates
because you
troops.
usually take the home and I grab
Right.
the,
Yeah, I get you.
grab the spare.
You know how usually you steal a planet and it's like it's got decent rate of production, but nothing in comparison to your home base.
Right. Yes.
That second starting one's more akin to the production level of your home base, but it's not
Okay.
technically a home base.
Yeah,
But
I gotcha.
Highly recommended.
Yeah, it just because there's been so many other things lately. I mean, an
Oh, geez.
overwhelming number of things. I feel like there's like 8 games that come out on March 9th.
Yeah,
Dude,
I was
I was
going to
just
bring that
talking
up.
about
Yeah,
that.
I was going to
Yeah,
ask like if you knew what was behind this March, like what's making March 9th so
don't know.
important in
I have no
VR.
idea.
There's other days of the month, peoples. We got Walkabout.
Somebody had to know something because if I were releasing a game, I wouldn't want to do it against some of the things coming out
Mhm.
March 9th. So I mean,
We got Walkabout's new DLC, just off the top of my head. Walkabout's new DLC, Pop 1 going free to play. I know we got Peaky Blinders, and I'm missing 2 others, which Peaky Blinders I've seen no hype about, surprisingly. I don't know if that's
well, I mean, it's
and they even had an event last week too. Like I saw a bunch of people post about the event. My guess is we'll see a bunch, right before launch day or whatever,
Mhm.
which I know I got a preview code for that a couple months ago and they haven't given us a review code, so I don't know what
Sometimes I
that
get
means.
nervous with that.
yeah, we've talked about that. When,
Yes. Usually when developers are like, it's ready a couple weeks before, there's been a couple
but
games like
nobody's
that.
getting
And
their
it's,
hands on it.
and it's always, but now we're getting a little bit of Grid Legends vibe going on,
And Walking Dead. Walking Dead was the same way
That's
because
right.
when that was coming out, so they showed us a preview in August last year. It wasn't a hands-on. It was they played it and like for like an hour basically and told us about it and we talked to them about it. And then it was like, okay, when are we going to get a code? When are we going to get a code? kept saying eventually, and then like sometime in November they're like, we'll give you a code on release date in December 1st. I'm like,
Uh-oh.
that's not giving me good vibes.
Mm-hmm.
And sure enough, it was super rough when it came out. I remember playing it and I was like, this is the same developers. What the heck happened?
Yeah, anytime it's not in people's hands early, I go, uh-oh, they're last minute optimizing.
Yeah, something's going on. And they have fixed it since. So, to be fair to them, I think they had to rush it to get there before Christmas. And
yeah,
that was the result was, well, this isn't ready, but it's almost Christmas, so here it goes.
I hate the meeting deadline stuff,
Yeah, it's especially in game development, it's not great.
Can't. It's better just look, plenty of games release as we've seen. Look, 2023, we've had Barbaria, like you mentioned before, the Light Brigade. Oh my goodness. Oh, Drop Dead the Cabin. There's plenty of other games coming out. There's January, February releases. I have a feeling they sold very good. You don't need Christmas. It's better to just put it out a couple months later. And if I don't know if word gets out that it's
from a retail standpoint, I mean, Christmas is 75% of your income.
But
so I don't know how that correlates when people are spending, for games and stuff. Like it has to be a boost.
Yeah, but you have that refund window. People are going to go buy a buggy game and then refund it. It was better to not even have the sale at all because you didn't really get the sale, And then word of mouth.
And then you have bad mind share too. Because I know like with Walking Dead, it sucked because they released it on December 1st. It was bad. A lot of reviewers trashed it, right? I mean,
and that's permanently on record.
umpteen YouTube videos talking about how terrible it is.
That's
and
never
3
gonna go
weeks
away.
later, they issue a patch that fixes 90% of the problems.
But the issues, videos, the word out, like I haven't, the consensus.
I can see it from both senses.
Yeah, if you talk to people,
nobody's going to replace that video. It's not like YouTube lets you upload a new video and be like, hey, it's fixed now.
Yeah.
or,
it's got,
or anybody's even, or it's going to get the same attention.
again, if you go and ask, people that haven't played it yet, hey, have you heard of the Walking Dead sequel? They're going to tell you that it's buggy and bad and avoid it. It's like it's so hard to get rid of that initial release reputation.
Yeah.
Took No Man's Sky years.
Yeah, but they
And
did.
They eventually,
Yeah, but
it's
literal
like,
years, and that's
yeah,
Well,
most
they were
games
in
cannot
hiding.
sustain that.
I
I
don't
still
know.
don't know how Hello Games did it.
Yeah. I imagine the Christmas window's great, especially for, well-polished games like Walkabout, Golf Plus, with great reputation. I don't know if it's worth pushing out a bad products that are, and ruining the game's reputation for the life of it just to meet
Do you
a
think that
sales
they
deadline.
deliberately chose that path to ruin a game, or do you think that contractually they had no
They
choice?
probably had a publishing deal or something like that.
Yeah, my guess is because they were Quest first, that
They had to have it out
they
first.
probably signed something with Meta,
Mm-hmm.
and the deal was it has to be out by December 1st, and we're going to market the living crap out of your game, and this is just how it's going to be, and I think they just had to meet it.
Yeah, I don't think that's
again, like not knowing anything official, but having talked to people and sort of off the record conversations, like that's the gist that I get, is that's sort of probably what happened. And even
that makes sense.
yeah, and even after they issued that patch, I don't know if you remember the whole debacle on Twitter where they reached out to a bunch of content creators and were like, hey, we'll pay you to re-review this game because we fixed it. And it was like, gosh, you guys could have avoided so much, but maybe they couldn't have, because maybe they were contractually obligated to deliver it then. So
I just don't think anybody wins on those type of deadline deals. Doesn't benefit the publisher, the platform, doesn't benefit the user, doesn't benefit the developer. If it's
Right.
hardware, making that Christmas deadline is a different conversation. Software with online only stores,
right.
Again, for a rated, oh geez, off the top of my head, is Walking Dead 2 rated M or
Yeah,
is
for
it teen?
sure.
That's
100% M.
that's what I'm thinking. So it's like, the kid crowd is really the Christmas software sales. If anything, that's going to be the ones that are going, hey mom, buy me Among Us. It's like, I don't know, for that specific game. I don't even, it's not worth it in my opinion.
Yeah, I
to do
totally agree.
deadlines.
Hopefully that's lessons learned, because I think that's pretty standout among these issues. I don't think there are very many big name games or things that are like that ship quite in that state. Maybe a
No, you look
Bethesda
at-
game.
Hey, but they have a great modding community that will fix it.
That's right.
But you look at Red Matter 2. We played Red Matter early. They were one of the companies that were confident with sending it out. They were even posting on Reddit like, "Hey, we'll have it in content creators' hands weeks ahead," and we never had any bugs with it. Released, polished, well to go. So
right, and even for Quest Pro, I think they're still the only one that does foveated rendering, eye track stuff.
Yeah, they even optimized.
I don't know of any other games that do, or at least nobody's told us, and I haven't really looked.
Yeah, and I know that they did specific optimization for Pico headsets too. It's like that's developer.
Yep.
Those developers are
they're
on the
killer.
ball. Yeah, but they didn't hit. No, I don't. It wasn't a Christmas release or anything like that.
That's why I was curious if it was more contractual
Yeah,
than choice made in house to put out a janky product. So I mean, I don't know why somebody would have a contract like that, but
yeah,
whatever.
but I'm sure like you kind of said, lessons learned.
Hopefully on both sides, if that was the case, right? Like hopefully
Mhm.
Meta won't push another developer to do that if that was the case, and then vice versa with
And in
anybody
the end,
else.
if that's the case, is big too. It could always be the small chance that the developer was like, okay, let's do it. Let's see what happens.
Right. And I know, like, I'm pretty sure that developer was not hurting for money, because that was one of the best selling
The original
games
Walking
on the
Dead
system. Like they made $100 million off that game.
To be honest with you, you'll still see people recommend that one over the first one. Like that one is such a highlight on the store.
Yep. No, I had a few friends get Quests for Christmas, and that was what I told every one of them. Because they were like, "Oh, should I buy that new one?" I'm like, "No, buy the old one first."
See? But I bet you if it came
the
out
old
with
one's perfect. Like,
yeah. That's awesome. So I usually like to wrap it up around an hour. So we're hitting that pickle point, I'll call it.
That's
we're starting
fine.
to
Yeah, we're
pickle
good.
up. A couple things I dying to ask, before we wrap it up. We referenced that there's already been some great releases in 2023, like Barbaria, Drop Dead, The Cabin.
Yep.
Uh, games going free to play. Like 2023 is on fire, and there's so many good games on the horizon. I don't mean to put you on the spot because, like we said before, that's the time you'll blank out. But is there any games notably on your head that you're looking forward to upcoming in 2023, like Ghostbusters or something like that?
I should pull up my list of upcoming games. Oh my gosh. Yeah, this is exactly what you said. You just blank.
This
Oh
is
my
called
gosh.
workload. Too much workload to anyone listening.
There's so
Man is
many
overworked.
games coming out too.
Yeah.
I will legit pull up our list of upcoming games because this is like one of the articles that we have constantly updated. I swear we update this thing 3 times a week.
I think Stratus actually sent me an article a couple weeks ago of like upcoming VR games in 2023, and we
guess who wrote it?
Yeah, we had it looked, and you were the writer of it, so
You wrote it.
case in point.
Yeah, there's so many. Like you got, I am looking forward to Peaky Blinders because I really liked the show, and the preview that I played a couple months ago, like I said, was really intriguing. It felt a little janky, right? But I liked the story a lot, and that's a lot of what I'm in that show for anyway. So
I was going to ask, for what you were able to play, how's the voice acting in it?
excellent. It's
is
perfect.
good. Okay.
Yeah,
good.
it's like I think the only one that felt a little quiet was Tommy. He kind of felt like he was talking like this, like. But his character also kind of talks like that. So it's not.
I missed the media of this. Like I missed this TV show of it, but everybody who watches it says it's good. It's a direct representation of the TV show. It's not like an
Yes.
offshoot of it.
Yeah,
Oh,
like you start out and it's even like you walk down the alley and it cues the theme song and you're like, oh, here we go. You got the credits rolling and like it feels like you're in the show. It's great.
Now I got to start binging.
Right? Yeah, it's good. It's a little HBO-esque if you know what I mean. Like it's definitely a mature show, but
it's a little graphic.
Yeah,
I've heard good things.
Mm-hmm.
So, and
I don't feel like it's too over the top. Definitely a lot of language, but I don't remember there being too much. Whatever. It's a mature show. Don't watch it with kids.
And I got a soft spot for a little bit of jank. Like 2 games that come to mind, like, and I love them. I don't mean this insultingly. It's beautiful jank, like Thief Sim and Dragon Fist VR. It's like a little bit of jank sprinkled in sometimes adds to the whole experience,
There you go. How many do you want me to list?
Oh, as many as you feel comfortable with.
All right, Gambit looks fun.
Oh, I'm so pumped.
Yeah, Payday vibes. Totally love it. And I love Payday 2 on PC VR on the VR side. That's another janky one that's whatever. I like it better in VR than I like the regular game.
I'm sure Vertigo Games is watching that one because to me that's like an After the Fall competitor too. Because After the Fall kind of takes the cake for a 4-person co-op shooter.
4-person co-op type of thing. That'll definitely do it. Warp Lab. I don't know if you've seen that, but it's kind of like Portal. It's like Portal with guns. So you got Portal guns, and you also have like guns that shoot bullets. So maybe a mix of a couple of different things. And I think that's a small indie developer.
I've missed that one. Is that coming for the Quest as well?
Yeah, that is Quest.
Ooh.
I don't know if it's even anything else.
That's
it probably
music to my ears.
But I know for sure it's Quest. I expect you to die 3. I'm a sucker for that one.
I hear from Strass over here daily. Do we have access? Do we play it? Do we? When can we get it?
Yeah,
I'm dying for that one.
It's so good. And then Ghostbusters, like you said too, because of the 4-player co-op. Like I really, for the most part, that's the stuff that I find myself playing more often. Is anything that has good co-op multiplayer, even if it's a shooter, as long as I can squad up with somebody like Pop One or something else.
I think we can say the same for ourselves. We don't do too much competitive multiplayer. It's more like cooperative games.
And like I love Contractors. I also play Contractors, particularly like the Halo and the Star Wars mods. They're brilliant. I cannot believe how well done they are. But yeah, I want a little more squad flavor to it. Maybe some like Call of Duty style rewards like Alvo has.
Well, I want to see them introduce mods for like their, how they have the co-op zombie mode
which we
Yes.
loved in Contractors.
Yeah.
Mm.
Now that's the co-op part, right? And I wish we had more maps and stuff for that. Because I think it's just the
100%.
2 right now still, isn't it?
Man, I haven't been in. We popped in to look at the mods maybe about 3 weeks ago, something
Mhm.
like that. But I haven't done
Got
co-op.
lost in the mods. Didn't actually get to play it.
Yeah, we spent an hour just popping in and browsing through different mods. But I don't think we've done a co-op run on Contractors in maybe like 3 or 4 months.
Mhm.
So it's been a while. I
yeah.
can't comment.
It's been a while since I played the zombies one too. It's been a couple of months, so I don't know map wise, but I don't remember seeing any huge updates for that. So
But
who knows?
imagine
Maybe I
like
just
a
missed
Star
it.
Wars one with that. You know, your whatever alliance or whatever. You got
Oh my
stormtroopers coming
gosh.
out instead of zombies. Come on, give it to me.
Yes. Yeah, I can imagine fighting off battle droids or something would be
Yeah.
incredible.
No, we're definitely co-op people all the way. And then I guess one last question on my end, and I'll pass it to Stratus if he's got anything else as well. You know, well, geez, you almost make me want to ask what are your favorite co-op games as well, but I think that would probably go a little bit back to like Demio and the ones that you
Yeah, I
after the
think we
fall, the
already
ones you
talked about
already
most of them
listed.
anyway.
You know,
Yep.
you know, for me personally, the games I enjoy most in VR genre wise are not the same in flat screen. You know, a great example, I'm not too big on roguelites flat screen, but for some reason in VR, they seem to do really good for me.
Agreed.
Same with co-op gaming. I tend to do way more co-op gaming in VR. It's my favorite in VR. I don't do it too much flat screen. For you, what are your favorite genres in VR? You know, obviously I think co-ops, you know, a wide theme, but you know, a horror fan, a shooter fan, you know, a real-time strategy fan, like we've been going crazy for Perispera. You know,
I need to
what gets
play
you
that
going?
too.
If you like real-time strategies, Aspera, don't know how to pronounce it, but it's
I know.
so freaking good.
Yeah, I'll go with Aspera too because I don't know either. Yeah, I think co-op is definitely number one. Anything that's co-op. The shooters are always fun just because VR is so visceral in that way, and it's so unique as far as aiming goes. Because you know, when you aim with a controller, it's not really you aiming. Yes, there's obviously skill to that, as you said, playing Fortnite and 10-year-olds are killing you using the friggin' tablet. But it's different because it's like it's a different kind of physicality to the whole thing. And I think that's what makes so many games in VR so interesting, even if, like you said, with roguelites. Hades is the only roguelite in a long time that I've liked on like flat screen gaming. Whereas there have been countless in VR that I really enjoy, and like that loop, you know, until you fall, things like games like that, the loop just works really well.
You try Mother Gunship Forge co-op mode?
I have not.
Oh,
That's like
that game.
digital crack.
Yeah, that game.
It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's freaking. It blew me away.
We had to like postpone reviews because we were playing other, you know, weren't.
Yeah, we couldn't stop playing it.
Yeah, it's that co-op
That's
mode.
so
dude.
good.
Business can wait.
Yeah.
know?
Have you played the game at all?
No. No, that was
highly
Charlie reviewed
recommend
that
it.
one for us, and it was one of those I didn't have the time, and he really wanted to review it, so that was where it died for me.
Well, that's a great example. The co-op mode wasn't really fleshed out when it first came out. They had like
Okay.
a kind of endless, they call it gauntlet, and then they added what you do in single player to the
Right.
co-op mode. So now it's like a fully fleshed co-op mode. When you play the game, you'll see what I mean. There's kind of like a campaign. You do single player mode, and you can
Right.
add, you know, extras, I guess you could say, to that. You know, little bonus starting things. And they brought that all to co-op. So like me and Stratus over here, how long would you say it takes to do a standard co-op run? Like 20 minutes, 25 minutes, 30 minutes, something like that?
Yeah.
Somewhere around there. It's like any given day, we'll just go in, and always fun. It's like adult Legos with, they give you pieces. I can't recommend it enough.
I will definitely try that.
So before we wrap this baby up, Stratus, did you have anything?
I want to know. I mean, I ask everybody this that has any foot on the inside, but let's talk about Rockstar for a minute. Is there any? I mean, because nobody's talking about anything other than allegedly they're making Grand Theft Auto for Quest. Do you believe that to be true?
You know, they announced it, but is it true?
Well, yeah,
is it
I mean,
actually
I hear
happening?
a lot of shit, but you know, it just they're such a tight-lipped company, other than the massive leak. But Yeah, I just
Yeah,
want
but that
some
almost never
confirmation that
happens.
somebody knows it's happening or being worked on.
I wonder that about Ubisoft's games as well. So that's about that's all I know. It's like, are we actually getting Assassin's Creed for quests? Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I know there's obviously a prototype of some kind and it's been announced, but other than that, who knows? I mean, they canceled Splinter Cell, and I don't understand that at all. I know like Espire 2 is another one that I haven't put as much time into as I want to. And a lot of that is because I'm waiting for more co-op campaigns. Like I beat the 4 that were available in, the first week or 2 of the game coming out. And I want more stuff like that. Like stealth is another one that's really fun in VR because you can hide in a box, or like you can go behind the table and you have that. I think that's why I like the Jurassic World game so much.
Are the most anxiety I get in VR.
Yeah, we're not the best at Aspire 2. I'm not the most stealthy.
Oh no,
the
I'm
highest
not
level at
good,
it, but it's fun. It's definitely a lot of fun.
Don't read that. I'm terrible at the game, and it's funny because the guy that I co-op with, we always joke about how bad can our score be, how negative can the numbers go this time.
Yep. I was gonna say I pay a lot of money to the agency. They don't pay me. I'll put it that
pretty
way.
much. Yeah, this is an expensive hobby essentially.
That's awesome. So yeah, Nicholas, it's been great.
I want to have Nicholas on again though.
Yeah, I think we easily could have hit the 2-3 hour mark.
Yeah,
with this one.
I already in my head was like, if we don't have a hard end, it's just not going to stop.
Yeah, geez, there's so much we didn't even get into. I mean, we talked a little bit about the upcoming Quest 3, but not fully in depth. We didn't even get into like VR fitness. There's still a whole bunch more we could talk about in the future. So definitely we gotta get him back on.
Sure, let's do it.